Is Georgia's next commitment right around the corner? That's what we're talking about in today's video. Of course, there's a lot of Georgia Bulldog recruiting news going on right now. The Dogs are picking up commitments left and right, and I think their next commitment could be coming their way very, very soon. A lot of these prospects are wrapping up their official visits, and a lot of them are saying to themselves, you know what? I know where I'm going to go. I'm ready to commit, and a lot of them are Georgia Bulldog targets. So one guy who's coming off the board tomorrow is Ekene Ogboko. He is one of the top offensive line prospects in the country. He is a lean, athletic tackle out of South Garner High School in North Carolina. Of course, his brother, Nnamdi Ogboko, is on Georgia's roster already as a defensive lineman. Ekene has been a top target for Stacy Searles and the Georgia Bulldogs from the very beginning. He's taken a lot of visits to Athens. He was there in the spring for Georgia's G-Day scrimmage. He was in town, I believe it was the weekend of June 6th. He's the number 6 offensive tackle prospect, the number 68 overall. He is a big, big deal, and he is making his decision tomorrow, June 18th. It's down to Georgia, Clemson, Florida, and Notre Dame. I think Georgia sits in a really good position about 24 hours out. We'll see if things changes at the last minute, but right now, I do think Georgia sits in a really good position for him. He was at Clemson this past weekend. Actually, he took an official visit to Florida in mid-May. He was at Clemson after that, and then he was in Athens a couple weekends ago. He was nowhere this past weekend, but he's ready to make his decision, and I think Georgia sits in a pretty good position. So their next commitment could be tomorrow. That would not surprise me at all. And if you've been following my reporting, and if you've been on Dawg Post, you know that Georgia has been a team towards the top, or at the top, basically, for this young man. He's a top 100 prospect, a really, really good player, and he would be Georgia's highest ranked offensive line commit if he does jump on board tomorrow. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on. On the 21st, June 21st, Rodney Cleveland will be making his announcement. This is a guy that was in Athens for June 6th weekend for his official visit. He's the number 11 defensive line prospect in the country out of Parker High School in Birmingham. Don't think he's leaning Georgia's way. I think Florida might be a team out in front for him. Could be a number of different schools. I just don't think it's Georgia. However, if something crazy changes, June 21st, Rodney Cleveland will be coming off the board. But a guy that I think Georgia sits in a pretty good position for is Craig Dandridge, 4-star wide receiver out of Cambridge High School. He will be making his announcement June 26th, so next week. Georgia, Stanford, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and I believe Florida, Georgia Tech, they're all in the mix. But as I've reported for a while now, basically since he got the Georgia offer, hey, Georgia could be tough to beat. He had a massive spring. He shot up Georgia's recruiting board. And this is a guy that I can totally see committing to Georgia in, I guess, 9 days, depending on when you're watching this video. But June 26th, he'll come off the board. I think he is arguably the best wide receiver in the state of Georgia. They've got a couple on board already, 3 total. Vance Spafford out of California. They've got Brady Marchese on the commit list out of Cartersville. They've got Ryan Mosley on the commit list out of Carrollton. And Craig Dandridge Jr., a guy that could totally play. He is Georgia level good. Coming off the board June 26th. At Cambridge last year as a junior, he caught 58 passes for 1,443 yards, 14 touchdowns. Dude was a scoring machine. He's quick. He's shifty. He's got really good speed, tremendous hands, can create separation. This is a guy that checks a lot of boxes. I can totally see him committing to Georgia on June 26th. So he's another guy to keep an eye on. That same day, Desmond Green is coming off the board. He is a massive offensive lineman, 6'5", 330 out of Timberland High School in South Carolina. He's committing on June 26th. He was in Athens for an official visit May 30th. Was at Florida last week and will be at South Carolina this upcoming weekend. I've always thought it could be Georgia or South Carolina. I think the Gamecocks could be tough to beat, but I know Florida made a big impression. Felt like he was leaning Georgia's way for a long, long time. That's the guy that Stacy Searles checked up on pretty consistently. He's been to Athens several times, and obviously that official visit the weekend of May 30th. But they've got 3 interior guys already on the commit list. Graham Houston out of Buford, Zachary Lewis out of North Gwinnett, Zyke Helton out of Carrollton. And there's still interior guys that they're pushing for. So it feels like Georgia's kind of faded away from Desmond Green. which is okay. I mean, he's a big, heavy guy. I think he's kind of a work in progress. Just the 3-star guy, but that doesn't mean a whole lot, especially on the offensive line. You just want grittiness, you want toughness, and you want a frame that projects pretty well. Ideally, you'd like guys to get to Georgia and continue adding weight. But, Stacey Searles loves size, so he's a guy to keep an eye on. But right now, I don't think he will end up at Georgia. We'll see if things change. Another guy to keep a close eye on, though, is Malachi Lee. I hope I said that correctly. This is the kid out of Hawaii that if you're a Georgia fan, and again, you've been on this channel, if you've been on Dawg Post, you should know a lot about him. 6'7", 310. He took his official visit to Georgia in Athens for Georgia's G-Day scrimmage in mid-April. He was back in town last weekend, and now he's thinking, you know what? I'm ready to make my decision. He will be committing on June 27th between Georgia, Michigan, Texas, and Alabama. He was at Alabama the weekend of May 30th. He was at Texas June 6th, Georgia this past weekend, and he takes his official visit to Michigan this upcoming weekend, June 20th. So he's already announced that he's going to make his commitment on the 27th. We'll see how that official visit to Michigan goes this upcoming weekend. But Stacey Searles went out to Hawaii twice to go visit him. And that's not a guy who wants to waste his own time, okay? So Georgia went out to see him for a reason. They're pushing for him. They want this kid. He is big. He's physical. Just one of those Hawaiian kids who works really hard. He knows what he's doing. And, we've seen a lot of offensive linemen come out of that area who have turned out to be really good players. Now, some of them, end up playing their high school ball in California or in some cases Utah, but they're from Hawaii. And this is a kid who's been to Athens twice. They've gone out to see him twice, and they are in his Final Four. So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on who comes off the board June 27th. So definitely, again, a guy to keep an eye on the offensive line. They would love to bring him in at offensive tackle. He is big, he's powerful, and his best football is way ahead of him. Coming off the board again, I believe, I don't have it written down. I should have. Xavier Crowell is a running back from Alabama who always has great things to say about Georgia. He's coming off the board maybe June 26th or 25th. Is late June. I don't think Georgia's going to get him. I think that would be a really tough pull. Probably Alabama's the team to beat there. But another guy to keep an eye on who could pop at any moment, really, is Kamari Brooks, the kid out of North Oconee, a tackling machine, one of the best pass rushers, not only in Georgia, but across the South. He's down to Georgia and Alabama. He's taken official visits to both places, and it's down to those two. So I don't believe he's got any other official visits lined up. He could be coming off the board any day now. He has not said a specific day when he wants to announce, but he could be ready. And he could wake up one morning and say, you know what, I think I want to go to Georgia, or I think I want to go to Alabama. So he probably won't be the next, because I do think Kenny Ogboko, who goes tomorrow, could be the guy, but could be sooner than later. Kamari Brooks says, you know what, I'm ready to make a decision. I know what my final two are. I visited both, ready to make that announcement. But that's a guy that I would be a really tough pill to swallow if he went to Alabama over Georgia. He's a local kid. Again, North Oconee High School, a pass rusher. You got to add more pass rushers. Those guys don't really grow on trees, especially one in your backyard. But made a ton of plays in the backfield. About 6'3", 220, explodes off the snap. And one of the best overall defenders, not only in Georgia, but across the South. So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. So, the month of June has been very good to the Georgia Bulldogs. They landed 4-star cornerback Caden Harris. They landed 4-star Justice Fitzpatrick. They've done a great job on the offensive line. So things are looking up. The Dogs always do well and get commitments in the month of June. I think they'll probably get more in July. I think Tyler Atkinson is probably close to making his announcement. He's the 5-star linebacker who was in Athens this past weekend. I think he'll probably end up taking official visits to Ohio State and Texas. But he told me, when I spoke with him after the Georgia visit, he said, this is probably the last time I'm going to visit all of these schools before I make my decision. So that could be a late June, possibly early July decision. But again, you can read all of this and more over on dawgpost.com. We've got a lot of scoop. We've got a lot of updates coming. Could have some big news tomorrow, but I don't think the Georgia recruiting train is slowing down anytime soon. They've got a lot of momentum with some guys. They are definitely going to push for a top 3 class, top 5 at worst. And I've said that the entire time, right? This staff, they know what they're doing. They haven't forgotten how to recruit. I know NIL plays a major factor now, but it doesn't matter. Georgia's going to bring in another outstanding recruiting class, headlined by five-star quarterback Jared Curtis, who was in town this weekend. They've got a lot of dogs on the commit list already. They're going to add a lot more, and some could be coming sooner than later. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll see you over on Dawg Post.